Kick off now. Welcome to our event as part of Victorian Law Week 2024. Today is Get ePrepared, all about a free self-help tool to help Australians save their important documents electronically. Thank you all for joining us today. We're delighted to have you here. I wanted to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which I'm joining you today. I'm very grateful to be on Wurundjeri and Woiwurrung land, and I'd like to pay my respects to their elders past and present. I extend my respect to any First Nations people who are joining us today, and I thank you for your continuous care of country. I acknowledge that this land was, is, and always will be Aboriginal land. So I'd like to start by introducing the people you'll be hearing from today on your screen. My name is Emily, my pronouns are she, they, and I'm the head of engagement at Justice Connect. We like to think of our engagement team as a bridge between our organisation, Justice Connect, and the people and community organisations who want to know about us and how we can help them. Our goal is to help people engage with the legal system and navigate their legal issues in a way that makes the most sense for them and empowers them to make the best, most informed decisions for their circumstances. Today, I'm joined by my colleague, Lisa Morgan, who is the project lead of Get ePrepared, who you'll be hearing from shortly. Some brief housekeeping before we start. At Justice Connect, we create tools that are used to be shared with anyone in our community. So as such, we're going to record today's session. By recording this session, we'll be able to offer this information to people who can't join us today, and it will also allow you to revisit this content again in your own time, should you need to. We'll send through a link to this recording in the days following our session, and we encourage you to please share it with your family, your friends, your colleagues, or anyone who may be interested in what we cover today. The topic of today's session, Get ePrepared, is a tool that considers the digital world and legal matters. So we expect that many of you will have questions. What we're offering today is general information as it relates to Get ePrepared, and we encourage you to add your question to this Zoom chat, where they'll be noted by our Justice Connect team. And we've allowed some time at the end of our session to respond to as many questions as possible. But if we can't get to your question today, we're going to aim to provide an answer by email along with the Zoom recording following the event. As always, Justice Connect welcomes curiosity and feedback. So please feel free to email us. At the end of the session, we'll share with you in the chat the best contact details for any questions you might have related to Get ePrepared. We also want to specify this session contains general information. It's not legal information or legal advice. If you are experiencing an issue and you would like legal help, you can apply for help online by visiting help.justiceconnect.org.au. So before we jump in, we have a short poll that we'd like to ask you to help us understand a little bit more about who's joining us today. So on your screen, you're going to see a little Zoom poll. Please take a moment to answer whether you are an individual from the community, maybe a lawyer working in the sector, a volunteer or a staff member from a community org, or maybe someone else. So I'll just give you a minute to select your choice and then please click submit. Wonderful, thank you everyone. Now I'm going to share the results, which is great to see. We have 31% of people joining us today are from the community. Thank you for joining us. We have 8% who are working in the sector, and thank you for your continuous work in increasing access to justice. And lastly, the vast majority, 61%, are volunteers or staff members from a community organisation, really keeping our communities and societies very healthy communities. So again, thank you for your work. So what are we doing today? We're going to start with a little bit of scene setting. I'll explain who Justice Connect is, as well as laying out some of the ideas that inspired us to create Get ePrepared. I'll then hand over to Lisa, who's going to walk you through Get ePrepared itself and show you how it can help you and the people you're working with learn how to save electronic copies of their important legal documents. We'll then go through a few frequently asked questions that we've received since launching the tool. And then from there, it's your turn to get involved. We'll provide some ways you can take action to get ePrepared, and then open up the floor to some questions. If this is your first time hearing about Justice Connect, we are a social justice organisation who design and deliver high-impact interventions to increase access to legal support and progress social justice. We were established in 2013 after the merger of the Victorian and New South Wales public interest law clearinghouses. Our story involves over 30 years experience connecting people and community groups who need legal help to lawyers who are available to help through our network of over 10,000 pro bono lawyers. And we don't just connect people with legal help. We also use the power of the law to open up the legal system for those who are locked out of it, and we fight to change the system where it's broken. We provide specialist legal help and support to a range of communities, including people who are at risk or experiencing homelessness, older people who are experiencing elder abuse, not-for-profit and community organisations, people representing themselves in court, and communities who are impacted by disasters. And this includes individuals, small business owners, primary producers, and community organisations. Justice Connect has also built a strong award-winning reputation in digital innovation in order to scale our reach and our impact. Since 2017, we've built a number of digital tools to link those in need of help with those who can offer it. Some of the tools you might recognise or that you may want to explore further are Dear Landlord, which helps Victorian renters who are behind in rent learn about their rights and their options to stay safely housed in their rental property. Our self-help tools for not-for-profit organisations, which help community orgs learn about their legal obligations and generate documents to help them navigate the law. And our most recently launched tool, Workers Resource Hub, which is a library of plain language resources for caseworkers or social workers in Victoria to help them identify and navigate legal issues that their clients experiencing homelessness may be facing. So we use technology to bring the law to more people. This allows us to reach thousands of people each year who may otherwise go without legal support. Now, on the topic of disaster response, we know that across Australia, disasters fueled by climate change are continuing to intensify. With every flood or bushfire or cyclone that our communities experience, more and more people are plunged into loss, uncertainty, and legal problems. Recent research from the Victorian Law Foundation has revealed people affected by disasters are twice as likely to have 5 or more problems, and their problems are more likely to last longer. That's why we're contributing to building a more connected, empowered, and responsive disaster legal assistance system. And there's a number of ways we do this, from providing free legal help in person and online, developing plain language self-help resources that help people understand their rights and their options, as well as offering free access to technology so that other community legal centres can tap into our network of pro bono lawyers and connect their clients to free help. We also partner with statewide disaster services like Disaster Legal Help Victoria here in Victoria. Some of the most common areas of legal problems people experience in disasters or emergencies include, but are not limited to, insurance issues, especially around understanding your policy coverage or negotiating with insurers, tenancy issues, including what happens if your rental property is impacted by a disaster, property law issues, including rights of access to farming land in emergencies or rights to restoration after use of property by emergency services, managing deceased estates or issues with wills or powers of attorney, damage to assets like machinery, crops, or livestock, financial issues like credit, debt, or bankruptcy matters, access to government grants and funding support or compensation schemes, employment law, for example, safety, redundancies, insolvencies, or disputes. In July 2023, last year, we embarked on a new project that was generously supported by Telstra to help solve a problem we kept seeing time and time again. People didn't know where to start when legally preparing for disasters. On top of this, there are people who are being left behind because they don't have the access, the confidence, or the skills to make use of online services that can help them. We came up with a bold vision of building the digital capacity of 55,000 Australians to help them better legally prepare for disasters. In Australia, 1 in 4 people are digitally excluded. The impacts of digital exclusion are not felt equally. People with low levels of income, education and employment, people living in regional areas, or people who are aged over 65, and people with a disability are at particular risk of being left behind. So this is very much a social justice issue. Digital inclusion means ensuring people can use the internet and technology to improve their daily lives. People need to have the right access, the right affordability, and the right ability to participate in the online world. And we believe that our community must do everything it can to ensure everyone has the opportunity to benefit from what the digital world has to offer. So we have one more poll. It's time for another Zoom poll. So I will just set that up. Please give me one moment. So the question we have for you now is, how confident do you feel online, if you feel comfortable sharing? Do you usually need someone to help you do things online, or can you do a few things online yourself if you've been shown how to do it before? Perhaps you can use most websites by yourself, even if you've never used them before. Or do you feel extremely confident online and you can even show others how to do things? All right, thank you very much, everyone, for voting in our poll. I'll now share the results. Fascinatingly, we have a large majority of very confident online users, which makes me very pleased to hear, as you are exactly the people that can help us in our mission to really tackle this inclusion problem. We have 31% saying that you can use most websites by yourself, and 10% who need a little bit of help doing things online. So with Get ePrepared, we had an opportunity to bring together a really exciting connection between Justice Connect's areas of expertise and impact. We see firsthand that legal need only increases after a disaster, and disasters are becoming more and more common. So put simply, there's more people who need help, and they need help more often. We also know that access to justice means much more than making sure people are connected to a lawyer. It also means preventing legal problems, increasing legal literacy, and improving people's experience of solving legal problems when they do occur. That's where legal preparedness comes in, because if you're able to take the steps to make sure you are prepared if you experience disaster-related legal issues, your outcomes can be dramatically improved. Finally, technology offers more and more opportunities as more people become comfortable with online environments. However, as we've just covered, we're also seeing this digital divide grow. As more people get online, the same communities are getting locked out of digital participation. And we're starting to see this flow-on effect in terms of how they're accessing services as well. And with these 3 factors, when they came together in 2023, the Justice Connect team joined with Telstra to increase the digital inclusion of 55,000 Australians. We started speaking to people who had been impacted by a disaster and asking what could have helped them when they needed it most. And so Get ePrepared was born. I'm now going to hand over to Lisa, who's going to take you on a walkthrough of Get ePrepared.
Thank you. As Emily mentioned, I'm the project lead for Get ePrepared, and my name's Lisa Morgan. I'm joining today from the traditional lands of the Bryakalong people of the Gunai-Kurnai Nations. I'd like to also pay my respects to the community. I do have another poll, which is the last poll that we're going to ask you to participate in today. And that poll is one that asks you to consider or share with us whether you've made, sorry, I'll just get that poll working. Apologies. See, this is why we do this, to show people that technology is not always easy. So the poll is about, do you have any electronic copies? As you may have guessed, I was one of those people that prior to doing this project, I didn't have any of those copies saved. I do now. There might be some of you there that are quite diligent and have already got this all underway, but are looking forward to sharing with others how to do this. And there's always those people who are actually in the majority who we found don't actually have copies of their important legal documents. So thank you to those who've taken the time to put answers. I'll end that poll. And as you can see, the vast majority of us, 67%, have saved some, but not all. Thank you to those who are brave enough to say no. Hopefully, if we were to do this in a week, you'll be able to say yes, because we'll be able to convince you that this is worthwhile. So moving on now. Whether you're an individual, family, small business owner, or primary producer, and also community organisation, the impacts of disaster are traumatic and can be long lasting. And we acknowledge that there'll be some people on the call with us today who've had that experience, and we appreciate you joining us. A key part of recovery we've found is connecting to services and support, which help community to start that long road to recovery. And to access many of these services and support, we know that people need to be able to prove who they are, where they live, and what they own. This requirement can be one of the first barriers people face in their journey of recovery. It is important for people to be able to have copies of these important documents and the identity pieces that they need, but they're often what is one of the first casualties of disaster because they can be lost. They can be damaged, and not being able to access them can increase the likelihood that legal problems will start to arise, as Emily talked about earlier. It can then impact on the delay for recovery. This is the premise of Get ePrepared. It is an online tool to guide people in how to create electronic copies of these important documents so they can access them anytime, anywhere. You'll hear us do that a lot. We'll talk a lot about who they are, where they live, and what they own, and access anytime, anywhere. That's our mantra. You can see Get ePrepared here on the screen at the moment. And as we've mentioned, we really do focus on digital technology as a tool to help people identify their legal issues at Justice Connect, and then to be connected to the information and support that they require. Get ePrepared, which is an easy to use tool, is one of our latest tools. We only launched it in January 2024. But what we're most proud of is, as we mentioned before, this is a co-designed tool with Australians who've been impacted by disaster. They kindly shared their time with us and were able to share their experiences, good or bad, about what happens after a disaster and being able to prove who they are, where they live, and what they own. When we set up Get ePrepared, what we did was we focused on 3 key areas. The first being understanding why and where someone could store documents, understand what documents to store, and how to go ahead and then store these documents. As we know, many Australians are facing the unpredictable threat of disaster. There's no longer disaster seasons that we identify. It is happening at a massive rate, whether that be floods, fires, cyclones, pandemics. Get ePrepared is that free tool to help Australians be able to prepare as best they can to limit the legal problems arising or being exacerbated by a disaster. Starting with where to store documents, Get ePrepared, we need to be really clear, is not an app or a storage tool itself. It doesn't hold any of these documents or any identifying information of its users. It is a safe guide or a coach for users. It offers guidance in really simple language and supports individuals step by step through all the actions they can take to prepare. The first step is deciding where to store the documents electronically. What we've done in Get ePrepared is we've focused on the 4 most common storage options that are easily available to most Australians. So you won't be surprised when you hear that they're USB, email, cloud, or a device. And when we talk about device, we're talking about computer, phone, tablet. Get ePrepared asks users to choose a solution that works best for them, and it's important that we emphasize it's about the choice that they make. Whether the user prefers to have a physical item like a USB or their device that they can take with them, or whether they feel more comfortable in the cloud or email, the online environments that they can access through any device. We offer all 4 of those solutions and the pros and cons attached to them. We've done the work about the pros and cons to try and help people make the decision and choose which is best for them based on the technology they have access to and the comfort that they have. We also encourage users to consider more than one storage option because, as many would know, you never know what happens after a disaster. Power and internet can be very hard to access, and it can influence how people can access these documents at any time. So we do encourage people to look at more than one option. Perhaps one of the most overwhelming parts of this process is deciding which documents are important to store. Get ePrepared takes the time to guide people through this process. So what we do is, in creating this particular part of the tool, which we call the checklist, we've worked with both lived experience, those who've experienced the disaster, and lawyers to suggest what documents may be the most useful. So we've used both those with a lived experience and lawyers to say what is it that could be most helpful. People can step through the checklist, and in interacting with it online, they'll be asked to consider their own circumstances while they answer a few questions that are anonymous. Get ePrepared then creates a unique checklist for that user. That way, people only need to focus on the documents that are relevant to them. So they may find that their license, birth certificate, and other things are what they have access to, and they should digitize. Others may not have those things. The checklist can be downloaded after that as a reference for the user to work through. When they take the next step in digitizing their documents, having that checklist with them is a good guide to remember what documents it is that they have to, or they should, have digital copies of and work through them as a task. Get ePrepared reminds users of some of the other important legal elements to this process as well, including being mindful that if your name doesn't match the name on your identity documents, they should also have a copy of their name change documents, things like marriage certificates, change of name certificate, or a change of name statement, and that would be added into that list. Another consideration is that different organisations and authorities have their own combination of documents that they require to be satisfied with a level of proof of identity. They may also require primary documents to be certified. Get ePrepared does have a component and a link that allows individuals to explore this option around certifying documents. So we encourage people to use what's already there. Once people have decided which storage solution is right for them and they've had their customized checklist and they're ready to go, we then find them, they can follow our guides or step-by-step guides in how to, let's start that again. They can follow our guides to do the step-by-step actions to digitize their important documents. So once they've got that checklist, it's now time for us to meet our Get ePrepared guides and for us to introduce you to Sandra, Joy, Jack, and the new ends. They're here to help, and they're what we refer to as our guides. These guides take the user step by step through the process of digitising their important documents. And you'll see from what you've got there on the screen, Sandra is focused on using a device, whether it be a computer, phone, or tablet, and all of her steps relate to that. Joy leads users through the cloud process. Jack shares the process of using a USB or a portable hard drive, and the new ends show users how they can use their own email as a storage option. This is really the heart of Get ePrepared. People are encouraged to follow one of these guides through the steps that they set out for their storage option that they've chosen. Users can do this on their own or with the assistance of family and friends and other supports in the community. People are encouraged to work through Get ePrepared at their own pace, wherever they're comfortable. And we think that's one of the great joys of Get ePrepared is your own pace, wherever you're comfortable with the people you're comfortable with. Get ePrepared also has an option within it that encourages small groups to come together and work through the steps one by one. It's a tool that the group session is a tool that allows that is designed for all Australians, and with the rise of emergency, taking in action is important, and we think that by having a group option, it's good to sometimes share that learning together and help those who don't have the strongest digital skills. And based on the poll we had earlier, I would say there's a lot of you people out there that would be who we would be hoping would pick up and work with some of our group session, our toolkit for that. So Sandra, Joy, and Jack and the new ones each lead users. As you can see here, we've got Jack on the screen. It's an interactive list in the first instance, and we encourage users to select guidance based on the technology that they have access to in their home or in their community centres, such as libraries. The guidance for each storage option also considers two of the most common ways to make copies of documents, taking a photo or using a scanner to make a copy. By taking these steps to create electronic copies of important documents for an emergency, people are learning valuable digital skills at the same time and building their confidence with using technology and engaging with the online world. And we know that's important because more and more Australians are asked to participate in online processes every day to engage with government agencies, health and education services. And we think by learning these skills and building the confidence through a positive experience with a tool like Get ePrepared, we allow people to safely interact online, and they get to choose how they interact and how they do so with confidence. In considering the breadth of audience for Get ePrepared, we've designed our guides to appeal to people's varying level of comfort with online tools and different preferred styles of learning. In doing so, we've added an option for users to listen to the guided steps via an audio file. One of the benefits associated with the audio file is the user can pause, work through each individual step, and then continue with the audio when they're ready to move on. How about we hear from Jack now and see how he offers support to people on their journey through using Get ePrepared.
Hi there, I'm Jack. I'm going to walk you through how you can use your USB to save electronic copies of your important documents in one place. Being able to quickly access these documents when you need them most can help you feel more prepared and protected. It can also make it easier to navigate any legal problems that might follow after an emergency. If you've chosen your USB as your preferred storage solution, all you'll need to get started is a USB, a phone with a camera, and a computer or tablet. You will also have the option to use a scanner. First, I'll run you through the steps to follow if you're using your phone's camera to make copies of your documents. Start by picking up the first document you're going to make an electronic copy of. If you don't know what documents you should be making copies of, you can use the Get ePrepared checklist to build a list that's relevant to your circumstances. Open your phone's camera and take a photo of the front of your document. Next, turn over the document and take a photo of the back if it's a double-sided document. Now, you're going to save these photos to the right location. Open your phone's photo album. Select the 2 latest photos you've just taken. Click Share. Your share icon might look different depending on your phone. Look for something that looks like an arrow or an arrow within a square. Transfer your photos to your computer, either by emailing it to yourself or connecting your phone to a computer with a cable. Plug your USB into your computer. Select your USBs folder in your computer's File Explorer. Drag your document into the USBs folder. Alternatively, you can make a copy of your photos and paste them into the USBs folder. If you don't have a phone with a camera, or you don't have a phone at all, you can use a scanner to make copies of your documents. You can ask your local library if they have a scanner you can use. Taking your first document, place it face down on the scanner. If the document is small, such as a license, add a blank sheet of white paper on top. Press the scan button on your scanner. Then, follow the instructions on your scanner or computer to complete the scan. Once the file is scanned, you can save it to the right location on your computer. Plug your USB into your computer. Select your USBs folder in your computer's File Explorer. Drag your document into the USBs folder. Alternatively, you can make a copy of your scanned document and paste it into the USBs folder. Congratulations! You've just made your first electronic copy of a document. All you have to do next is repeat the process for any other important documents you want to keep a copy of. Remember, you can use Get ePrepared's checklist to find out which documents are important for your own circumstances. You can also learn about other options for storage solutions, like using your device like your phone, computer or tablet, using your emails, or using the cloud. Justice Connect is here to help. If you have a legal problem and you need help, Justice Connect might be able to connect you with a lawyer for free. For more information, click the Get Help in My Area button on this website.
Thank you. As you can see, we've really put a lot of thought into offering more than one way that people can engage with Get ePrepared. You've followed Jack throughout. You've seen that he can step through question by question in the first option. You can play the audio in the second. When we were considering the breadth of people that we were offering this tool to, we wanted to make sure that there was options that met the needs of individuals and their different ways of learning or their different ways of engaging online. So what we did is we also considered those who like to see a process from start to finish before taking their first steps. And you can see on the screen that there's a PDF that users can easily download and print. That step-by-step guide is for their chosen or preferred storage option, and they can follow that at their own pace. Where I've seen it work really well is when you have the audio and the PDF together. And also one of the joys of this PDF is that you can print it off, and when you don't have access to the internet, you can still go forward with the steps through this guidance and save it on things like your phone, etc. So we have talked about Get ePrepared, and we've tried to showcase as best we can what this tool offers. We've had some time already to consider what people are telling us in their feedback, and we have always been mindful of what we expect frequently asked questions to be, and they've been pretty spot on. So we're going to move on now to explore some of our more frequently asked questions. At Justice Connect, we do understand that both the digital and legal worlds can be really overwhelming for some. And there's often a number of questions that people need reassurance on before they engage with digital tools like Get ePrepared. So we've taken a lot of time to consider those and put answers within Get ePrepared and be open to those questions whenever they arise. Some of the more commonly asked questions that we've covered off in our frequently asked questions page in Get ePrepared. The first one is, can I store my documents on Get ePrepared? We spoke about it earlier, but we'd like to reinforce that Get ePrepared does not store documents or personal information of users, but rather it aims to support people to engage with storage options that already exist that they can take some control over themselves. We're here to help people learn how to do this for themselves and for them to help others around them as well. And therefore, we've used what's already existing. The next one that we often hear is, will my identity be stolen? Really valid question in today's day and age. At Justice Connect, we always acknowledge that privacy and security is important for everyone in every aspect of their life, particularly online. Concern can grow for people when it comes to discussing legal matters or engaging in the online environment. So our frequently asked questions respond to this by highlighting that learning how and where we store things safely can help greatly. And this is what Get ePrepared aims to do. It aims to help people feel more secure online by taking control of their own circumstances and learning how to best engage. We understand there'll always be risk. However, the risk can be minimised, we believe, by taking precautions, and our information shares some ways in which people can do that. So we talk about things like using strong passwords, two-factor authentication, strong security systems, and most importantly, taking steps yourself to ensure your information is safe and only sharing it with who you feel safe and secure in doing so. Another one that we often hear is, do I need certified copies? We spoke about that briefly earlier, that some government authorities may ask for that. Having certified copies can give people the best chance that their documents will be accepted after a disaster. We got some great feedback from users that indicated at times that this has been an issue for them. So what we've done is we've created links for people to go to up-to-date and contemporary advice on how to certify documents in their local area. And that link is easily accessible through our frequently asked questions. If they don't have certified copies, some authorities may still accept their applications, but each authority is different, and we acknowledge that in the preparation process, it would be helpful to understand what's happening in your area and the best way to go forward to that. And if they do make exceptions and allow that you don't have to have certified copies. So we encourage people in the preparation process not just to digitize their documents, but to also understand the environment around them that they're likely to engage in post-disaster. Thank you. Now, the great bit. How can you get involved? A part of joining the Law Week activities and offering this session was not only to show those of you who've joined us today what the tool's like and how to use it, but also to show you can get involved beyond this session. As Get ePrepared does not have any criteria as to who can use it or share it, we ask you to share it with your friends, your family, your networks. We'd like you to tell them what you've learned about Get ePrepared today, why it was created in the first place, and that it's a tool that is meant for many Australians. There's no restrictions in that. You can even share the recording you'll get from today's session with people. We're quite okay with that. And we also ask that you share the link to Get ePrepared so you can help others work through the steps. We even have a communication. I saw at the start that there was a lot of people from community organisations and volunteer groups. We have created a communications pack for Get ePrepared that is really focused on making it easier for you to share the information about Get ePrepared. So it's got things in it like information that you can insert straight into your newsletters or straight into your social media to raise the awareness. Our team's really done a lot of work to make sure that that's really easily accessible. We know that a lot of organisations, particularly volunteers ones, don't have a lot of time. And we think that if we can help you in creating these items, you'll be able to share them for us on our behalf. So as always, newsletters, social medias, we love them. I talked earlier about the group session kit, and this slide now shows you what it looks like to give you a bit of insight. And it's also got a QR code on there for you that you could access straight away, or you can get to this group session kit through the Get ePrepared website itself. We've considered the many ways that people learn, and I really hope that you understand that that has been at the heart of us developing Get ePrepared. We felt there was a real opportunity for community or group leaders to teach others these digital skills through an engaging tool like Get ePrepared. We know there's a lot of community groups out there that are always looking for content on how to help people with their digital skills. We think Get ePrepared could be one of those. We've put a lot of time into designing this group session kit so that you don't feel like you're on your own. We've developed this kit that can be used by anyone. We'd say bring together 4 to 5 people to work through the steps on their own devices or their own chosen storage option. The kit does include a suggested session outline of about 2 hours, and some of the ways in which you can encourage participation in the day is what the kit emphasises. If you think anyone in your organisation or group would want to learn more about the kit, they can contact me and we can help introduce it. And I very much would encourage any discussion around the group session kit or Get ePrepared. Generally, that's what I'm here for. And the more that we can get people to understand that this is a genuine tool to help people, the better. So if we can help you, you can help us, and we would really appreciate that. Thank you. Now, what's next for our project? We'll continue to work with individuals, families, and communities to improve Get ePrepared. Hopefully some of those will be you, and to create more resources for people to build legal resilience and increase their digital skills. Please take the time to share and use Get ePrepared. As always, Justice Connect welcomes curiosity and feedback. You heard us say that at the start. We will say it over and over again. So please feel free to share your thoughts, whether they're positive or constructive, about your experience with Get ePrepared. We've got a chance to improve it, and the only way we can do that is through the feedback of others. You can take short surveys within Get ePrepared. We've deliberately embedded them in there to get the feedback. You can email us. In the chat today, we've shared the best contact details for queries in relation to Get ePrepared. I'm always happy to chat to anyone. And for any legal problems, please feel free to contact your our colleagues through help.justiceconnect.org.au. We want it to be really clear, there is work within Justice Connect that focuses on supporting people with legal issues, and you can connect to them as easily as you can to Get ePrepared. So please go ahead and do that. Ask the question and we'll see what help we can offer. Work's also started on our next digital tool. It's called Smart Assist. This takes Justice Connect's artificial intelligence model, developed with the University of Melbourne and hundreds of pro bono lawyers, and applies that AI model to our library of 120 plus self-help resources. Smart Assist asks users to share in their own words the problem that they're facing at that point in time. It then suggests which part of the legal system applies in their circumstance. The tool filters through the 120 self-help resources and offers information to users on their rights and the options that they have relevant to the situation. This tool is focused on ensuring that a lack of understanding of specific technical legal language does not preclude individuals from receiving the information and support they require. Anyone who attended this week's earlier session, Route 66, you've all heard that 60% of Australians who have legal issues don't even know that they're legal issues. So this is a way that we're trying to enhance people's connection to understanding what is a legal matter and how to get support. You can rest assured that Smart Assist, like ePrepared, doesn't store anyone's personal information. We're encouraging individuals to use Smart Assist to practice using AI whilst building their digital skills and confidence. We think it pairs really well with Get ePrepared for that. We see Smart Assist as a way for Australians to interact with artificial intelligence with purpose, and more importantly, learn how to identify safe and ethical AI in their online interactions. Although we'll not take a deep look into Smart Assist today, we encourage you to go and have a look at it via our Justice Connect website, and we've also shared that link in the chat today. A reminder to those who are not familiar with chat functions, you will be able to access this chat after the meeting and get some of those details, and it'll also come out when we send the recordings, all these links as well. So that's where we've got to in terms of the content that we consciously wanted to share with you today about Get ePrepared. I'm going to ask Emily to join me back on screen. We've made it to our questions. In the background, there is always a superstar that runs technology. And for us today, that's Kim. And Kim has been keeping an eye on our Q&A section. And I'm going to ask Kim to feel free to ask us some of the tough questions that have come up in the chat today. Are you ready, Emily?
Sure am.
For sure. Great job, guys. We have one question from Georgia. Have you run any in-person sessions using the kit? How did they go? And would you suggest bringing in someone to certify documents in the session?
Are you happy if I do that one, Emily?
Go ahead, Liz.
Georgia, you're a person after my own heart. The session kit we have tested. We haven't tested with a community group yet. We've got some very brave people that have reached out to us with an intention to do so. We felt that a webinar like this would concrete people's confidence in delivering Get ePrepared, and we would hope that after a session like this, people are more willing to do so. I think like any group session, you'll have a diverse range of participants. Unique issues will arise that aren't dissimilar to other groups that you run. But I think hopefully after participating in this session today, there's a confidence in how you can tell people that it works and why it works, particularly around the frequently asked questions. That's been a barrier for some people. There's a hesitation around a group session because there might be questions about what happens if people ask me about cybersecurity, what happens if people ask me about their certified documents. We try and offer the answers. We're happy to walk alongside you and support you in the initial days as we're getting group sessions up and running. I don't think there's ever a waste of time in getting community members into community sessions that have skills like the ability to certify documents. If you've got anybody who's a JP that's got some time on their hands, or someone from the community that's willing to do that, I think that's a brilliant idea. And I'd love to hear how that goes. That's something else we want too, is if people are running group sessions or participating with the tool, that you let us know how that goes, because with each revision and change that we make, we can only get better. So that's our intent, is to make it easier. So I hope, Georgia, that gives you a well-rounded answer. Anyone else brave enough with a question? Ah, thanks, Georgia. Love the chat. I'd be really interested also too, government departments often have community participation representatives that their role is to work with people like neighbourhood houses or men's sheds, etc., to ensure that support and information is offered to community. Some of them might come out and join you in a session to talk about what it is that happens in a disaster, and as the representatives of emergency response, they could probably speak to you. I know Emergency Management Victoria has participated in work I've done previously in areas impacted by disaster. You can always ask. Emily, I'm going to beat Kim to this one. There's a question there about how a digital copy is certified. I'm going to go with, we're not offering legal advice, but we may have some ideas.
Yeah, it's a great question. We'll happily share the link that is provided in Get ePrepared about the certification of documents. And we do encourage that people do a little bit of research and find out how that works in their jurisdiction. It can change. As we know, our wonderful legal system has some intricacies across various different jurisdictions. But there is a link that I'll pop in the chat, and it's a link from Services Australia. And so it provides some information about the best way to go about certification of documents.
I also realised, Emily, we've not been very shameless. We haven't plugged our social media channels or our newsletters that people can sign up for as well to access legal information more broadly. So we encourage people.
A great point, Lisa. Yeah, please follow us on, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter or X, we're on Instagram, and we're on LinkedIn as well. You can find us at Justice Connect. And if you visit our website, justiceconnect.org.au, right down the bottom is a subscribe button that you're more than welcome to subscribe to, so you can hear from us, not only about Get ePrepared, but about our other services, products and tools and resources as well.
And I see Maggie's acknowledged that most police stations offer certification of documents. Is spot on. One of the sentiments we want to get across today is we believe the community has the skills. We believe the community has the audience, and this is a tool that we can help others with. We're not bound by any restrictions around who can access this. So any information that people can share across their community groups as well is always beneficial. So
we've got another question in the Q&A from Genevieve. What have been some challenges with the development of Get ePrepared?
A wonderful question. I'll get started. We found that we knew going into this process, we really wanted to take an intentional and trauma-informed approach. And part of that meant that we wanted to hear directly from community and from people who have experienced disasters. They were incredibly generous to share with us their experience of what that has been like for them, especially if they also found themselves navigating legal issues. I would say this wasn't so much a challenge, but really it was something that we couldn't have created this tool without. And so we're very grateful for the time and insights that were provided to us from our committee of co-design participants who helped us shape the direction of Get ePrepared. We also, at Justice Connect, we take a human-centered design approach to all of the products and digital tools that we create, which allows us to really think about how can we place the people who are going to be using this tool at the center of all of the decisions we make. So it was wonderful to get a chance to really get in the heads of people who would be using this tool, think about how might they be feeling when they come to this, when they find this resource, if they have had experience of disaster, or if they are thinking about how can they best prepare for themselves or for their families, what kind of motivations might be the right way to tap into helping them understand we're here to help. And so we did some work trying to understand the audience that we would be sharing this tool with, and developing some personas that allowed us to really, think about how's the best way we can present this to them. Anything you wanted to share, Lisa, about the...
Perfectly said. I think one of the things that we've acknowledged throughout is the challenge around working with people who are not confident digitally. And also working with legal matters. So I think the two areas that nobody ever really wants to delve too deeply into is digital and legal, because of all of the potential impacts it can have if it goes wrong. And we said that earlier about the cybersecurity. So there's always that caution that people have that, are we real? Are we genuine? Are we really not going to take their information? So there's been some work that our team's done about making sure that our messaging is really clear, that this is a tool that focuses on what already exists, but guides people rather than takes any information. So that's been a challenge, but one that we've enjoyed overcoming. When you mentioned earlier about those with a lived experience, can I please say, if there is anybody watching this session that would like to join us and influence future designs of this tool or other work that we do at JC around disaster, please get in contact with us. We can work through our own experiences, but there is nothing better than getting a variety of people who are able to kindly offer us their time to ensure that the tool is the best that it can be. I thought people might be interested in hearing that we've had 6,500 users of Get ePrepared so far since we launched in January. And that's not just people coming and looking for us. That's a measure that relates to actually going through the guided steps, which is really great. We've had about 400 users of Smart Assist, which is good given how new it is. I think it's only weeks old for us. And we haven't even really, this is the first time we're really talking about it outside of the organisation. So that's pretty exciting. And since we launched in January, we've had over 100 pieces of feedback from people who've engaged with the tool that have directly told us what their experience has been like with the tool. 90% of the users are indicating that they find the tool helpful and their confidence is growing, which is a win for us. But the more information we can get around how to improve that is what we're always going to focus on. And we are working on the build of a version 2 for Get ePrepared that should be out in September. So we're looking forward to that. Any other questions, Kim, before we move towards close?
Like that's all of them in the chat and the Q&A.
Well, if any surface after you hang up today, you feel free to let us know. No surprises. When we finish this session and we send out the recording we keep talking about, and we're asking you all to share, we're also going to be putting a survey in there. We can't improve the quality of what we do if we don't know what to improve. So please take the time to give us feedback about this specific session today. You can do it straight away by using the QR code that's there or going to the link, but you'll also get it as a part of the email that comes out to you. So thank you very much. Events like today are not possible without the continued efforts of Victorian Law Foundation. I think we emphasised that earlier. And their ability to highlight Law Week, which is really important. We're very pleased to be a part of today. To our team at Justice Connect, who've contributed to the session, we're immensely grateful, particularly to Kim, who's in the background there. To have 250 people show interest in this session means legally preparing for disaster is front of mind for people. So we believe this tool is helpful, and we'd like to thank the 250 of you who had registered. We know not everybody jumps on the day, but they will all be receiving this. And for the, what was it, 78 that were online today, we truly appreciate it. We think this tool can help many Australians. If you think the same, please don't hesitate to let others know. If you think we can improve it, please also let us know. But it's been an absolute delight to meet you all today, and we hope to see you again in future projects. Enjoy your day. Thank you, Emily.
Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. Take care.